Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We are here in Princess Juliana International Airport on the beautiful Caribbean island of St. Martin, and we have gotten a release date for Sim Update 15. It's going to be May 23rd, which is next Thursday. So let's talk about everything that's in there. There's some things that have been discussed quite a bit, and there's also some things that I think have been overlooked. So let's get into it. First of all, have a look here at the number of updates. There are 13 beta releases, including one Xbox only release. And if you remember, or if you are a frequent visitor of the forums, one of the big complaints early on, maybe the first year and a half, is that Asobo didn't take enough time. They rushed the betas out. And Asobo has done, I think, a good job of reacting and changing what they do based on community feedback, and they certainly did in this regard as well. And of course, now you have people that are upset that they have taken too long. As you can see, it's been in beta since February 14th. It's now May 17th. That is, 3 months. So pretty significant amount of time, but they've also done quite a significant amount of work. So let's talk about some of the things that they have done. The big things are the headline items are fixing crashes, improving performance, including FPS, which is the big one, reducing stutters, in particular after long flights or during long flights, and also reducing load times in the simulator. They have also resolved an ATC audio issue where people were losing ATC sound. They would lose the audio for air traffic control. And they've done some changes to the ice modeling to limit where the ice is incorrectly found in the world, such as the Swiss lakes, Norwegian fjords, and things like that. So the ice depiction has been improved. General improvements is improving performance of glass cockpits, particularly the heavier aircraft, the 747, 787, the live aircraft traffic, improving the livery models and model matching for live traffic, which is also fantastic. One of the really big ones, the ground contact resolution improvements, as they call it. I did a big video on this. Sim Update 15 is going to bring us more accurate ground contact model, and this applies to all aircraft, and this is something I did a big video on. You can tell in any aircraft that you fly, from the Cessna 152 right up through the PMDG 737 and beyond, that the ground contact is much better. Your ability to control the aircraft on the ground is hugely improved in Sim Update 15. There's a second aspect to the ground contact changes, which is the soft gears, which is the flexibility in the gears and the flex in the tires, which is currently on the Cessna 172 in the Cabri. And that is a change which they have brought back from Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024's development and implemented in Flight Sim 2020. That is something, it's a bit of code that developers will be able to quickly and easily add to their aircraft to enable this new soft ground contact model for the tires and gears to their third-party aircraft, which is great. Let's see Sava off there in the distance. The next really big one is the DX12 ground tile bleed through. Now you can see we're right here in Princess Juliana. I'm using the payware version, and the name of the developer is escaping me right now. Airworthy Designs. Airworthy Designs is the developer for this model, and this was an airport, particularly in the initial stages of Sim Update 15, had a really big problem with the ground tile bleed through. You would have satellite images with old images of aircraft on the ground beneath you. It looked horrible. I did a video on that as well. And shortly after I made that video, they fixed the problem, which they had been insisting for a while either had been fixed or didn't exist, neither of which were true. That is fixed. There are no more ground tile bleed through issues in Sim Update 15. Whether they apply both to DX12 or DX11 as well, I always saw it in DX12, but I only fly in DX12. Some people say they saw this in DX11 as well. That is resolved. It's done. That's a huge thing. The next thing that's really interesting that nobody's talked about, They've added support for multi-rotor helicopters, like the Chinook is one example, but dual-rotor helicopters are now supported in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, which I think is really going to open up the rotorcraft world to a whole new bunch of aircraft, and so we'll see how that plays out. Pretty interesting for those of you who like rotorcraft. And they've done lots of configuration changes and control configurations and engine parameter settings changes for those multi-rotor helicopters, so that should be interesting to see where that goes. The World Hub is coming to life. World Hub submissions have been released under Sim Update 15 beta, so those should be coming to you as well, which is really pretty exciting. General changes to navigation and traffic, improved usage of available flight data to feed the live traffic in the sim, so we're going to hopefully get more accurate live traffic depictions in the sim. There are going to be more flights visible to you when you're in a free flight. That the number of other aircraft you could see, live traffic aircraft that you could see flying around, have been restricted somewhat previously, and that has been increased, so that should be great. The spawning of aircraft at airports where you are, the live traffic spawning should be better, and the AI behavior should be better around airports and on airport grounds, so that's great. They've done some bug fixes to some of the avionics, the G3000, G5000. They've done bug fixes. The G1000 NXI has gotten bug fixes. The avionics for the 787 and for the 747, as I said before, have been improved. There's been a big overhaul of the Garmin G3X Touch, a comprehensive visual overhaul of the avionics, accurate fonts and symbols, operation and feel of the G3X Touch has all been completely overhauled. There's built-in support for direct to and point-to-point VFR planning and navigation, and support for specific engine and MFD page layouts for different aircraft, different supported aircraft, optional lean assists and fuel calculation functions for different aircraft. And they've also added the ability to enable the NexRad overlay in the G3X Touch, which is fantastic. Big changes to the G3X Touch from Garmin. In terms of aircraft, they've done bug fixes for the 787, the 747, and the TBM 930. The Cub Crafters X Cub and NX Cub both have received the updated avionics, the overhaul for the G3X Touch, which is great. The Cirrus SR22 Turbo, this SR22T, they've added and tuned new ground handling parameters, so that should handle more accurately on the ground. Side note, I don't understand necessarily why they brought the SR22T. Non-pressurized turbos, particularly non-pressurized piston turbos, don't make a whole lot of sense. I don't know why they wouldn't have just done an SR22. I think it would have been a lot more broadly appealing, but they didn't. But they've improved that aircraft, the handling of that aircraft on the ground, and of course what we're looking at now, which is the IniBuilds A320. Now, I tried unsuccessfully to fly this airplane because I don't know how to fly an A320. But I tell you what, let's take a look inside here real quick. It is absolutely gorgeous. I think they've done a really, really beautiful job on this airplane. And the reviews that I've seen seem to indicate that the airplane handles a lot better, that it flies a lot better. The avionics and the autopilot modes and such work a lot better now than they did in times past. We've got the tablet here, which is pretty comprehensive, integrates fully with SimBrief, which is wonderful, and really great in-depth tablet that they have here. And we can go here. I'm going to turn the APU mode on just so we can see. We've got takeoff calculations, and you can set all your settings up in here. So let's take a look here now that we're on APU, and you can see all. I mean, it's very nicely modeled, and you can see the windscreen got some wear and tear on that. I almost think perhaps a little bit too much, but that's just my opinion. very, very nicely modeled. A very just nice, comfortable place to be. I just think this is a well-modeled aircraft. And like I said, those who know say that the FMC is working very, very well. Yeah, I think people are going to be very, very excited to see this airplane. So that's pretty much the rundown of what we get in Sim Update 15. Again, that's going to be coming your way in about 6 days time, next Thursday, May 23rd. So I think everybody should be looking forward to that. It's going to be, again, the last major update before Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 comes out, and the last major update, the last sim update for 2024 for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So what we get with this update is pretty much what we're going to have for the next 7 months at least, and probably into 2024. That being said, I've also done some flight testing. I did a video yesterday where I cranked up the traffic, cranked up the weather, and flew it out of Miami, flew the 737 out of Miami. No problems whatsoever. Very, very smooth. Performance in the Sim Update 15 beta has been pretty much excellent throughout. And you guys know, if you know my channel, I'm not an FPS chaser. So I'm not somebody who's going to be able to tell you, well, I was getting 42 before and I'm getting 46 now. I couldn't care less. What I do know and what I can tell you is that the performance is very, very smooth. And I run, let me show you what I run as a matter of course. These are my general settings. So I'm in 2K. I generally run DLSS, DLAA with the frame gen mod, and DX12 as I mentioned before. So let me run you through my settings. TLOD 205, off-screen precaching, terrain vector data, buildings, trees, etc. all ultra. OLOD 105. That's the trick, by the way. Instead of doing 100 or 200 or 300, do 105, 205, 195. That seems to give you a better result. Clouds are very, very important to me. Ultra. Texture resolution, ultra. Anisotropic filtering I have on an NVIDIA control panel 16 times and off in the sim. All this stuff is pretty much as high as it can go. As you can see, a lot of these things only go up to high. They don't go to ultra. And so I really have things pretty much maxed out, save for terrain level of detail and object level of detail. This is what I run on an everyday basis. This is what all of my testing has been done with. And it looks fantastic. The sim looks beautiful. It's crisp. Performance is very, very good. I've flown into Miami several times. I've flown into other major airports. I've been in Chicago. I've been in JFK. JFK bogged me down a little bit, but nothing serious. I've been in DFW. I've been in all the major airports in the Caribbean, and the performance is excellent. So generally speaking, I think you guys are going to be very, very happy with Sim Update 15. Another 6 days until you see it, and I will try and do some more testing showing FPS because I know people are interested in that, and bring that to you. In the meantime, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope everybody is enjoying their day and looking forward to the weekend, and we will talk soon.